Hey, we're doing a pastrami sandwich. This was a corned beef that I cooked up in my smoker here. Added a little bit of Irish braising liquid to it, and then we put it on a sandwich. A little bit of spicy mustard. The stuff is pretty good, I do have to admit. Watch exactly how we made it.
Fajita sizzle, sweet aroma fills the air. Jeff's on the smoker with a masterful flair. From juicy brisket to that pulled pork delight. Steak on the grill, cooking it just right. He's got the low and slow, got that secret touch. You're gonna love this flavor oh so much. So let's get this party started, y'all. BBQ plus, yeah! BBQ plus, woo!
All right, so step one is we've got this corned beef brisket, and this is a flat. You can see it's got lots of moisture in here. This has up to 35% of a solution of water, salt, sodium phosphate, sodium, I can't pronounce it, sodium nitrate, flavorings, all kinds of stuff in here. So this came from the local grocery store. It's just after St. Paddy's Day, so corned beef briskets were on sale. So picked one of those up, and we're going to do this great pastrami. First thing we're going to want to do is get this guy out of here and just get rid of a lot of that liquid. So being that it's about 30% of this is just liquid that they added, that is highly salty. And we're going to want to mitigate and get rid of all that salt. So the best way to do that is to soak it in water. That's what it looks like. We've got a fat cap there that we're going to trim off. Might as well do that right now, because for corned beef, we don't want that big fat cap on there. You can choose to get a flat or a point. A flat is going to be, I think, better for what we want to do, is just make sandwiches, because they're going to be nice little thin slices. If you wanted kind of the more fatty, probably more flavorful, that's going to be the point. You can choose that. They're usually wrapped separately. Or you can do the whole thing, which is to brine it all on your own and get a full brisket. That seems like a lot more work, especially when I can get this already pre-brined and as a corned beef, and just so much easier to be able to, for the same price as I'd get full brisket, get it where a lot of that work is already done for me. There, so that looks pretty nice. I think that we've got most of that fat off there. We're just going to drop it inside this aluminum foil tin, and we're going to add a lot of water in it. So putting cold water in, this is going to go into the refrigerator, and it's going to hang out there overnight. I will probably end up maybe a couple, 2-3 times changing the water, because that water gets all the salt out of here. All right, so next step is, here is that corned beef brisket. We changed the water out on this several different times. I think probably about 4 different times as we had it in the refrigerator chilling out. Now it's ready to pat it off dry, and we're going to put some seasoning on it and then throw it in my little trusty Davy Crockett Green Mountain grill. Love this little guy just because when you're doing only 2 pounds of corned beef brisket, you're not using a whole ton of pellets like you would in this big beast back here. So we're going to mix up this pastrami rub. So this is a good proportion. We're going to start out with exactly 1/4 cup of black pepper, coarsely ground. Then we need something sweet, so I'm going to use some brown sugar. And we've got 1/8 cup of dark brown sugar there. You can use sugar in the raw. You can use some other types of sugar. I like the sweetness, and I also like the depth of flavor that you get from the dark brown sugar. Next thing we're going to put in is ground garlic. And this is a tablespoon. And then coriander. And that's the same amount there. It's a tablespoon of coriander. That's what really gives it the flavor in the pastrami. Then we've got 1/2 tablespoon of mustard, ground mustard. And we're going to finish it off with that same amount, a tablespoon of onion powder. I'm going to put it all inside of here, give it a good shake to be able to mix it up. Feel like Tom Cruise in Cocktail. Maybe not. So Now we're just gonna spread that out. We're gonna put a lot of it on here. We're gonna press it down into the meat. This is what's gonna form just a great bark since we've got a lot of that black pepper in there. Gonna do both sides, and then we're gonna make sure and get the edges as well. So there we have it. This is your corned beef brisket that has been rinsed, and now we've applied our seasoning on here. We're just gonna drop it right on the rack there. That's looking pretty good. And we're gonna give it some time. I've set this to go up to about 225 degrees. So we're just gonna keep an eye on that for an internal temperature of about 160 degrees inside that meat. I'll drop a probe in there and just come in and check on it periodically. About 160, 65 right in there. That's where it stops really gaining any more smoke flavor. Your bark is all the way kind of developed at that point. The smoke is permeated in. And then at that point, we're gonna put it in some nice braising liquid, which is gonna have a little luck of the Irish in it. Hey, just something I wanted to throw in here. If you like kind of what we're doing here, I like cooking stuff outdoors. I've got this great environment here to be able to cook in, even though it's rainy and kind of drizzly and a little bit cool here. But I've got a great place. I've put the money into putting this together, buying smokers, getting this whole thing outfit. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that like and hitting the subscribe button as well. So I would really appreciate that if you would share this with friends also that might be loving the barbecue. It's also just a great encouragement to me when I see that more people are liking it, more people are sharing it with others. And especially if I see those views ticking up a little bit, it gives me a little bit of positive hope that people are enjoying what I'm doing. So if you do that for me, I'd really appreciate it. Looking good. We're at about 165 degrees. I turned that over one time. Looks like our bark is setting up nicely, so it's time to take it into the next step. Food temperature shows 167 degrees on there, so that's just what we're looking for. So what we're gonna do next is add a little bit of braising liquid into here. We're gonna pull it out. Actually, I could just leave that in. And I'm gonna put it in this pan that I've got a couple of little racks sitting in. So that'll keep it off the bottom. And we're gonna add some Irish braising liquid to it. None other than Guinness. We're gonna put that in. That's gonna give us some nice liquid to be able to froth up underneath there. I think we're looking a little shy. I'm gonna go grab me another. There we go for our second Irish braising liquid. Better check and make sure. Yep, it's okay. There we go. So that's going to make us just a nice little bath in there to keep some nice steam coming off of that Guinness, and going to be able to finish up that pastrami. We already have a nice bark on there. So let's seal that up. That's going to work perfect. Open this guy back up. And put that to bed for the second part of our cook. Take this temperature, which we have set at 225. I'm going to kick that up a little bit. We're going to go up to about 265, maybe 275. The idea is we want to get up to an internal temperature that currently shows 163 internal, and we want to bring that up to just over 200, probably 202 degrees or so. Then we'll pull it out. It'll be nice and steamed. That bark will be great. And we'll cut it up into some nice pastrami slices for a sandwich. All right, it's that time to make all the magic happen. So we're running right at 208 for our internal temperature on the food. I've shut the smoker down to a lower temp. We're gonna pull this out and give it a try. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh, nice bunch of steam there. It's got a good basted bark. So there it is. We're using Grandpa Sid's brisket knife. Oh, that looks really good in there. So we're gonna try just a little bite out of there. That is good stuff. Lots of pepper, lots of coriander. Now that was an end slice, so that makes sense that it would have the most amount of seasoning on it possible. Try that one. Really good taste to it. I would say that it's not a real fall apart. It's still got definitely some tug to it. Never made pastrami before, so I thought I'd give it a try. And I'm just kind of hand slicing this. The other thing I could do is cut it real thin. I do have a slicer that I picked up last year and have used that a little bit, so that could be an option also. Now, I'm not a big fan of rye bread, personally, so I'm gonna put some spicy mustard just on this was a Trader Joe's bread that I picked up. It's a kind of a hefty seed bread, kind of a rustic. There, whoa, that's a lot. That's a substantial amount. Spicy mustard on there. Layer some of these on. I'm not going to make it the super thick like Katz's Deli kind, but I think that this looks pretty good. We're going to cut that in half. Now to give it a try like it was meant to be, with the mustard on there, a good bread. That's a good sandwich. That spicy mustard really does a good job on there. Almost a little bit overpowering. I might dial that back a little bit. I'm not a huge mustard fan, but I think that's good. The pastrami is good. As I said, maybe just a little bit tough. I'm not sure if it went over. We went up to about 206 degrees. At the end, it just really climbed pretty fast. I looked at it, it was 189 for the internal temperature. I looked a couple of minutes later, it was like 196. And then I probably gave it about another 10 minutes and it was up to like 208 degrees. So that last section really went fast and it might have tightened up a little bit in that time. I would say pretty good sandwich. So I would say things I might do a little bit the next time is I would do a bigger brisket instead of one of these smaller sections. This, again, just a couple of pounds. So I would probably get something that's 5-6 pounds. That's going to be a little bit easier to manage through the cook, especially that spike at the end. It was pretty small brisket, so made it hard to be able to hold it from probably getting overcooked a little bit and then tightening the muscle back up again. So that's something that I would do a little bit different. And I might even just put it on my slicer and just make really thin slices instead of these bigger, thicker ones. I think it's good. I think it's a great little first try at it. If you enjoy what we're putting out here, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe. And the most important thing is to figure out what you're going to cook in your backyard this weekend. And from Barbecue Plus, thanks for watching.
Fajita sizzle, sweet aroma fills the air. Jeff's on the smoker with a masterful flair. From juicy brisket to that pulled pork delight. Steak on the grill, cooking it just right. He's got the low and slow, got that secret touch. You're gonna love this flavor oh so much. So let's get this party started, y'all. BBQ Plus, yeah! BBQ Plus, woo!